Upapadyate mohat tasya parityagaha tamasaha parikirtitaha niyatasya tu sannyasaha karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasaha parikirtitaha niyatasya tu sannyasaha karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasaha parikirtitaha niyatasya tu sannyasaha karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasaha parikirtitaha
niyatasya tu sannyasa karmano napapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasa parikirtitaha niyatasya tu sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasa parikirtitaha
niyatasya tu samyasam karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tasmai parikirtitaha
tamasaha parikirtitaha.
niyatasya tu sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasa parikirtitaha.
Word to word meanings. Niyatasya, prescribed duties. Tu, but. Sannyasaha, renunciation. Karmanaha, activities. Na, never. Upapadyate, is deserved. Mohat, by illusion. Tasya, of which. Parityagaha, renunciation. Tamasaha, in the mode of ignorance. Parikirtitaha, declared. Translation. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If, by illusion, one gives up his prescribed duties, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
There's some who think that the solution to the problems of entanglement in karma is to stop all activities. And then they expect that they won't have any reactions, no karmic reactions to endure. So they think that if they drop out of society, give up work, give up family, give up identification as being part of a country, they think that is liberation. That's the ultimate way to become liberated. And they think that's leading them to the perfection of moksha, where they think they merge and become one with the Supreme. Or some think that they annihilate the self altogether, shunyavadi. But that's not the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is the supreme authority, and he's instructing Arjuna, who wants to do something similar, who wants to give up his work, retire from active engagements, thinking that he'll be free from committing any sinful activities by that. But Krishna instructs him just the opposite. No, don't give up your activities. Do your duty, but do it for Krishna. Yagyartam karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Krishna instructs Arjuna, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to the material world. Therefore, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Well, this is the difference between this concept of stopping actions, and rather than stopping the actions, one should give the results to Krishna. Certainly, when one tries to enjoy the results of his own work, his own activities, there will be so many problems because he has to take the results. He has to take the good results, so-called good results, and the so-called bad results. The so-called good results are sense gratification. If I perform, let's say I win the contest, so I reap the benefits of the prize, the recognition, the fame, the elation, whatever else goes along with it. That's what I would consider good karma. And if I lose the contest, then I'm disappointed, I wasted my time, I get no fame, I get criticized, etc. That's what would be considered the bad results. But good or bad results in the material world are the same, because they both bind one to the material world. They're both full of bondage. It's like getting your choice of being imprisoned in a golden prison cell or or a metal iron one. If you win, you get to be in the golden cell. And if you lose, you get to be in the iron cell. So someone who's in the golden cell, he's thinking, this is great. I'm in the golden cell. But he's a loser. He's in prison. He's just as much a loser as the one who's in the iron cell. In fact, in some ways, he's even more unfortunate because he's satisfied now being in prison. That's what it says about the persons in the mode of goodness. Persons in the mode of goodness are also bound up by illusion because they're thinking that I'm doing nicely. I'm better off than the others. I live a pure lifestyle. I have more knowledge. So I'm doing fine. So both of them are influenced by ignorance, passion. Even those in the mode of goodness have some influence of passion and ignorance because that's the nature of this material world. It's not pure. But Krishna is instructing Arjuna, and through Arjuna everyone else, that don't give up your duties. Perform your duties according to the Yajna Dana. The pious activities should be performed, but as an offering to Krishna. That's the idea. Yajna Dana Tapa. The Tyajam. They should never be given up. In other words, if one takes sannyas, sometimes sannyas means the renounced order of life. So he may think, well, now I don't have to perform any fire sacrifices, any yajnas. I don't have to give any charity. I don't have to perform any austerities. I don't have to get up early in the morning. I don't have to chant rounds. I'm liberated. No. Krishna says, those activities are purifying even for the great souls. They shouldn't be given up, but they should be done as an offering to Krishna. Simply getting up early in the morning is not a great accomplishment. Fishermen get up early every morning to go fishing before 5 o'clock. They have to get out there before the waters start getting too turbulent. They get out when the waters are still and the fish are more apt to bite. But just because he's getting up early, or newspapers. In my era, we used to deliver newspapers, young boys. So they'd have to get up early in the morning. You have to deliver the paper before 7 o'clock in the morning so that the people can read the news. But that getting up early in the morning, there's no spiritual benefits at all. It's just completely material. But getting up early to see the Lord and to offer service to the Lord and chant, that's austerity that's transcendental. So Rupa Goswami, who is the primary follower of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explained this, Yukta Vairagyam, that there's no need to give up things of this world as being material. You just have to know how to utilize them in a spiritual way. It's like money. Many young people who are seekers of spiritual life, they don't want to touch money because they feel they'll become contaminated by it. So they're very concerned not to have any money. And some spiritualists, they also think like that I don't want to. Someone had a photograph taken of him. He was a guru and his hand was going away from money. But a Vaishnava is not afraid of money. He knows that money can be used in Krishna's service, just like Lakshmi. The materialist, like Ravana, when he saw Lakshmi, he thought, oh, she should be my wife. She's the most beautiful woman, she's suitable for me. He wanted to enjoy the goddess of fortune. He thought he was the supreme. But Hanuman, he saw Lakshmi, that no, she belongs for Rama, Sitaram, Lakshmi Narayan. So he made his effort to bring Sita or Lakshmi back from Ravana and give her back to Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna. So that's the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. The karmi wants to enjoy Lakshmi himself. The devotee wants to give Lakshmi back to Krishna. And the impersonalist or the voidist, he wants to act like there's no such thing as there's nothing to enjoy. He wants to renounce everything, even renounce himself, renounce his own existence. He's so absorbed in renouncing, he throws the baby out with the bathwater. He renounces his own identity. He renounces everything. Why renounce it? You're eternal. You can't stop living. You can pretend that you won't exist anymore or that you don't have any identity. But that's just pretension. Rather, as Krishna says, Natvevaham jatunasham atom neme janadipaha chaiva na bhavishamak sarvevayam atakparam. He says that we're all eternal. I'm eternal, Krishna, you're eternal. All the people assembled here, we're all eternal, individual living beings. And we'll always be eternal, we'll never be changed. We never cease to exist. Jayate mriyate va. For the soul there's neither birth nor death. So that's the basic understanding, is we're eternal. We can't stop existing. And we don't merge into someone else. We don't become anyone else or anything else. But presently we're under the diseased consciousness of thinking I am this body. And that has to be cured. And the cure is not to speculate and try to figure that I must not be anything, or I must be everything, or I must do nothing. No, Krishna is the guide. Krishna tells everyone has to do his duty. Perform your prescribed duties for Vishnu's satisfaction. Vishnu is the Supreme Lord, the Master. Vishnu, Krishna the same. Everyone has their duty to perform for Krishna. And how do we find out what our duty is? We find out from the representative of Krishna. The general idea we learn from Krishna, that you must serve. And we learn from Prahlad Maharaj 9 different types of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnupada Sevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. That's good. And more particular, more specific, the spiritual master gives assignments to his disciples. You should preach in the West, you should preach in the East, you should preach in the North, you should preach in south or what have you. He gives some direction. And then if the disciple takes that, and those instructions, all of them together, Krishna's instructions, the acharyas, and the Guru Shastra Sadhu, then his life becomes successful. Then he's fit to be elevated to the spiritual world because he's learned the art. He's learned how to behave, how to live as a good soul. Right now, in the material world, we're not living as good souls. We're outlaws. We're rebels without a cause. We're doing all nonsense things completely in opposition to the instructions given by Krishna. That will not lead to anything beneficial, individually or collectively. But the result, or the example is given, if you get a thorn stuck in your arm, it's painful. So the solution is you take another thorn, and with that thorn you pry out the first thorn. So work gets us into trouble when we act independently. But when we act according to Krishna's instruction, the same work gives us liberation. Another example is too much milk products causes indigestion. But then when one has indigestion, the doctor recommends taking yogurt. Yogurt is a cure for overeating of milk. Someone will say, but that's also milk. It's milk, but in a different way. So in the same way, in the same idea, that work, when it's done in the right consciousness, activity in the right consciousness, brings one liberation very quickly. Purport?
Work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for the Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended.
Yeah, just like some people, lights no fire and performs no work. The renunciates, they think, shouldn't light any fire for sacrifice or for cooking. Yes, for your own sense gratification, that's a fact. You shouldn't do anything for sense gratification. But cooking for Krishna, that's not sense gratification. Someone may say, but the food that's cooked for Krishna is also delicious. And when I eat it, my senses are satisfied. But it's not sense gratification because it's spiritualized. It's not selfishly taken for my senses. It may also bring my senses pleasure. That's the nature of spiritual activity, is that it pleases the spirit, the mind, and the body. They have these mind, body, spirit festivals. At least they used to have. Do they still have these? They were quite popular for some time. Mind, spirit, and body. Mind, body, spirit. Or body, mind, and spirit. Yes, if you're acting on the spiritual platform, then your mind will also be satisfied, and your body will be satisfied. If you act on the bodily platform, your mind won't be satisfied, and your spirit won't be satisfied because you're missing the point. The spirit is the real person. We have to satisfy the person. And how does the person become satisfied? The person becomes satisfied when he's engaged in service of Krishna, because that's his natural position. Jivera Swaruphoy Nityara Krishna Das. That's his natural, constitutional position to serve Krishna. Then he's satisfied. Continue.
It is said that A person in the renounced order of life should not cook for himself. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness.
Yeah, they give up. They think, I'm not going to initiate someone, or I'm not going to arrange a marriage for someone, because if he gets involved in marriage, that's material. And then there's man and woman, and then there's attraction, that's material, and there's money, and there's home, and this is all, I don't want to be involved in that. So he says, I'm not going to do it. But Prabhupada did it. Prabhupada married so many of his young students. Even though he was a sannyasi, he had supposedly renounced the world, so someone may criticize him. Why is he performing marriages if he renounced the world? And the answer is that in the beginning stage, one may have to go through the grihastha ashram. One may not be ready for sannyas. So, as being a stepping stone for spiritual advancement, it's necessary. Therefore, Krishna has created the varnashram system, and it's a bona fide stage of life that one may accept, just like Arjuna was a grihastha. Even Krishna himself played the part of a grihastha, householder. And one can make spiritual advancement in that position if he conducts himself according to the Vedic principles. So then it's favorable. It's true that ordinary marriages, there's no spiritual benefit. Ordinary marriage, if Prabhupada were to have engaged in ordinary marriages, just like some people do that, the potential bride and the groom, intended bride and groom come, and he asks them to say some things, and he marries them. But what is the purpose of their marriage? Just sense gratification. Then yes, then he's also involved. He's implicated in that activity. Why did he do that? He got entangled in that. But to arrange a marriage where Krishna is in the center, and the purpose is to serve Krishna more and produce Krishna conscious offspring, that's transcendental. So the whole thing changes. When Krishna is brought into the picture, everything changes. From being entangling, being implicated in karmic bondage, or being completely liberated. This is the secret of devotional service. How is it the devotional service, which looks so much like ordinary activity, how can it have such amazing effects? So I think you all understand this point. Continue.
Next verse.
Next verse. Are there any questions on this verse before we go on?
Could you mention what groups are impersonalists? Is the Vedanta Society considered impersonalists?
Well, those who accept that the Supreme Spirit is not a person, that's what we call impersonalists. They They believe that the ultimate, supreme, absolute truth is impersonal. So those who speak about merging into the white light or to the Brahman or to the one, becoming merged with the one, or the essence, they use words, impersonal words, because that's what they believe. Like the energy. Some people say love is God. That's impersonalism. Love is God. No, Krishna is God. If you say to them, Krishna is God, they say, oh, Krishna. Oh, you mean a person? You mean with a form, with a body? No. That's limiting. They think that's limiting. And it's material because they say, no, that has form. That which is inside the form, that which is outside the form, that means it's not absolute. But they don't understand Krishna's form. It's not like everyone else's form. So they think that the absolute impersonal Brahman, for example, the energy, the effulgence of the Lord, they think that is supreme. Those who are in the Vedic culture, they take the Brahman to be the supreme. They want to merge into the Brahmajyoti. But they don't know, and Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyasya cha. I am the source of the Brahman. Or like those who prefer to chant Om. They think Om is good, no person. But Krishna says, I'm the Omkar. So Bhagavad Gita is an awakening for the impersonalists, because wherever they look, they thought, oh good, this is all impersonal. Then Krishna says, yes, but I'm the source of that impersonal. That effulgence that you want to merge into, that comes from me. It's my effulgence. And aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. I'm the source of both material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me, the person, Krishna. Is that all right?
Yes. And one more. Say I'm doing an activity and I want to do it for Krishna. Say I'm mowing the lawn. Is there something I can say or a prayer other than the Maha Mantra to make that clear? Or
make it clear to whom?
Just to state it, just to, something to make it clear to myself and Krishna.
No, what makes it clear is what do you do with the results? If you go out and buy some vodka and then you go to the club and then you go to the steakhouse, and it's clear that your mowing the lawn was material. And if you take the fruits from the mowing the lawn, let's say you get paid for it, and you use that in the service of Krishna, buy some food, offer to Krishna, pay your rent so you can make the rent a house, make the apartment a place for worshiping Krishna, or an ashram. Ashram also means a place where spiritual culture is developed. So that's the idea. What is the result? Who's the beneficiary? Who's getting the benefit from your mowing the lawn? It's like if you go to a man's office, the executives, they have pictures of their children on the desk. So what does that mean? That means they're working for the children. Generally, they don't have the wife picture. They like the children's picture. But the children come from the wife, so it's the same thing. They're attached to the wife and the children. And that's who they're working for. That's their consciousness. Whereas a devotee has Krishna, because he gives everything to Krishna. Whereas the materialist, family man, he gives everything to his family. And a nationalist gives everything to his country. And someone he may have a picture of his cat. He may give everything to his cat. He lives for his cat. So it's a question of who gets the results of your mowing the lawn. That's the change in consciousness. That's what Krishna consciousness stands apart from all other types of consciousness, because all other types of consciousness are temporary. You say you're working for your family, but how long are you going to be in that family? That family is all gone. In my age, for example, I think of my family, it's all gone. There's practically nothing left of the family. So, and then when we leave our bodies, then there'll be no more family connection. We won't even remember which family we were in. So what kind of arrangement is that? I do everything for my family, and then we're all, poof, completely separated. We never meet again. We don't know who was who and who was in what body. So that's certainly a temporary ambition to please my family, or to please myself, my body, when I'm in the illusion of being the body. But to serve Krishna, that's an eternal relationship, that Krishna never changes, and I'm always eternally the same spiritual being. So Krishna consciousness is the only activity that's completely spiritual and is in full knowledge. Because if I think I'm going to merge into the Brahman forever, now that's a lack of understanding, because that's not a place for the living entity to remain permanently, because he's a person. He has personal ambitions, activities. Temporarily, one may want to go there, just like if somebody's been in a traumatic accident, they put him in a place where it's very calm and peaceful, but if after he becomes free from the trauma, he says, I want to go out and do things. They say, no, just stay in the non-trauma room. He says, no, I'm over the trauma now. Now I want to do things. So Brahma Jyoti may be traumaless, but it's not blissful. So we want the blissful activity of the spiritual world with Krishna, where every day is more blissful than the previous day. We may think, well, how's that possible? That sounds like a fairy tale. That's the nature of the spiritual world. Everything increases. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. It gets more blissful every day. How is that? Well, how does Krishna do so many wonderful things? He does. Sunshine is always pleasing. Beautiful flowers, relationships. We get some hint of Krishna's great abilities in the material world. For example, we have a nice friendship and it grows, and your friendship grows and grows, and it gets better every day. So we appreciate that type of loving relationship. Or when we become educated, as we learn more, we enjoy more. We enjoy the learning, the knowledge, the reciprocation. We get some indications of that ever-increasing pleasure, but it doesn't practically work. We would like it to work, but we're trying to do it in the material world where it's not possible. This is a place, it's already certified, stamped. Tukalayam Shashvatam. Krishna has stamped it. This place is full of misery, and it's temporary. So we're trying to make all these wonderful arrangements to enjoy this place forever. It's fruitless. It's a waste of time. But there is such a place, and that's the spiritual world. So we can get some entrance, a preview of the spiritual world even while we're here. Krishna is so kind that he gives a preview. You can engage in devotional service. Krishna is so kind, he comes to engage in service, to engage in relationship with us. The deity form of Krishna is Krishna himself. He's come to relish the rasa of relationship with his devotees. So devotees enjoy singing to him and decorating, making clothes for him, cooking food for him, dancing for him, preaching on his behalf. These are all part of the relationship with Krishna. And in his Archa-Vigraha form, he accepts that. Other questions? Yes?
Maharaj, Hare Krishna. You stated that impersonalists believe love is God, and but love is Krishna also, and Krishna is love. So isn't that the same thing?
No, Krishna is not love. Krishna has love. Don't make Krishna impersonal. Krishna is a person. He's the Supreme Person. He's not love. He has love. Love is one of his characteristics. But if you say love is God, then you've made God impersonal. So we don't want to do that. We say, yes, love is meant for Krishna. Love comes from Krishna. And love is meant between Krishna and his devotees. That's what love is meant for. Because when you say love, then we have to find out what you mean by love. And what they mean by love in the material world is a perverted reflection of the real love. When they say, I love you, who are they saying they love? When a boy tells a girl, I love you, what does he mean? Anyone like to say? Yes?
I want to have sex with you.
Well, that's, getting right down to the nitty-gritty. I love your body and I love your mind. And therefore, yes, the next step is then I want to enjoy for my own sense gratification. Because I think I'm a body, I think I'm a male body, and I think you're a female body. That's all illusion. So that whole idea of love we have to give up. That's not love, that's lust. So we have to understand what love means. Love is eternal, first of all. Love doesn't mean, I love you tonight, and tomorrow we'll see. That's not love. That's lust. That's a perversion of love. Love means you're my beloved eternally. I'm your eternal lover or servant. The beginning of love is service. There has to be some service too. It can't just be that I want to take from you. Just like the love of a child for his father is nice, but it's not as high as the love of the father for the child. Because the child is, I love Father, give me this, give me this, give me this. But the father's love is, I want to give everything to the child. But the highest form of love on the spiritual platform is the conjugal relationship, where one gives everything, but without expectation of anything, any personal satisfaction in return. So real love means without business. I love you as long as you satisfy my senses. No. I love you even if you Ashli Shiva Padaratam Pinastamam Marma Tam Karotuva Yata Tatava Vidatu Lampato Matprananatastu sevanapara. I love you even if you handle me roughly by embrace or make me brokenhearted by not being present before me. Still, I'm your servant and I love you. No conditions. Not that I love you if you give me what I want. I love you if you approve of what I'm doing.
That's the 8th verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, correct?
Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastakam, yes,
Right,
that's the 8th
yes.
verse.
Right. So the ultimate definition of God is Krishna as a
Krishna,
person.
yes, that's
It,
perfect.
right?
That's the ultimate definition of God, Krishna. Yes, because he is. It's not sectarian. Someone might say, well, this is sectarian. You're saying Krishna is God and others aren't God. Krishna is God and there's only one. But he has many different forms. So if you happen to be worshiping a form of God, an expansion of Krishna, then that's the same. Like Vishnu or Lord Rama. Because they're Vishnu Tattva. In the category of Vishnu. Svangsa, expansion. We were studying today Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we were commenting how the Vaishnava scholars, the Vaishnava writers like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Rupa Goswami, they're so learned, vastly learned in Vedic knowledge, and they're so elevated that it's very difficult to defeat them in any philosophical points. So when they say something like Lord Chaitanya is the expansion of Lord Krishna, it's very difficult to defeat that. So that's the beauty of the Vaishnava scholars, is that they've really mastered the Vedic knowledge. They're the real Vidvan. It's like Vyasadeva, he's called Mahamuni, the great Muni, the great thinker. He's the compiler of the Vedas. He knows everything. So how will anyone defeat him? How can you argue with Vyasadeva? How can you argue with Rupa Goswami? How can you argue? We have to learn from those who are knowledgeable. And it's not just book knowledge. It's not just theoretical knowledge. Look how they live. They give everything to Krishna. How did Rupa Goswami live? Under a different tree every night. Nana Shastra Vicharanayik, sleeping 1.5 hours a night. Yet sometimes they forgot to sleep at all. Nana Shastra Vicharanayik Nipanosa Dharma Samsa, writing books, studying books. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartanapano Premamritam Bonidi, always chanting the glories of the Lord. This is how they live. How can anybody argue with that? So we should follow in the footsteps of these personalities who've set the example, how to live in this world peacefully, successfully, and then after giving up this present material body, going back, hitva anyata rupam swarupena vivastiti, going back to the spiritual world in the spiritual form. That's the goal. Back to home, back to Godhead.
So when we say Krishna, a lot of times we say Radha Shyam or Radha Krishna. So how does Radha come into this? Radha is also part
Radha is part of Krishna. She's the personification of Ladini Shakti, his pleasure-giving potency. Because he's the supreme enjoyer, so he expands himself as Shrimati Radharani, because she's imbued with the ability to give him pleasure unlimitedly. And she expands further as Lakshmi, as Saraswati, as Ganga, as different Shaktis, the gopis. As Krishna expands as Vishnu, she expands as Shakti, or even Durga. She's an expansion of Srimati Radharani. They're meant for pleasing Vishnu. And we, your question should be, then what are we? We're not Vishnu, we're not Shakti, we're the Tatastha Shakti. We're also Shakti, but we're marginal potency of the Lord. We're not Vishnu category, but we're in a unique category called the Tatastha Shakti. And we have the opportunity to be in the spiritual world or to be in the material world. That's our choice. And an interesting thing about this is that in the Srimad Bhagavatam it describes that Krishna is more fond of his pure devotees, Jiva's souls, than he is even of his own form of Balaram and Lakshmi. Try to wrap your mind around that one. That means our position is even more hopeful. We can be more pleasing to Krishna than even Balaram and Lakshmi. It's inconceivable, of course, but the point is that we shouldn't think, oh, we're relegated to this lowly position of being marginal potency. I wish I was. No. That's the perfect position to be in, because we have complete independence to choose. That much Krishna doesn't interfere with. Everything else we're not independent, but we're independent to do that. We can choose Krishna or Maya. And that's the choice every day. Do I want Krishna or Maya? And the success in life is when I decide I want Krishna forever.
But not only Krishna, but Krishna is the Supreme Person, right?
Well, that's what Krishna is.
Right.
It's not only Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person.
Right. And so the immediate expansion of the Krishna is Radharani or Balaram?
Balaram is the expansion, yes, and she's the expansion of his pleasure potency, his Shakti. So he's enjoying on the spiritual platform with her and her expansions. And the living entities, as we are, the marginal potency, our real home is there in the spiritual world, assisting them in their pleasure. Not to become Krishna, not to become Radha, but to become Gopi Bar Turpada Kamalayor Dasa Das Anudas, the servant of the gopis who are serving Krishna. Just like the acharyas say that I want to be the servant of the 6 Goswamis, and the 6 Goswamis are the servants of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda, and then from the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda one can become a servant of Radha Krishna. So in this way one becomes the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And everyone can be engaged. It's a perfect system. Everyone can be engaged there. We don't even need this material world. We can wrap it up. Just like if you went to the head of Kansas City, the mayor, and you said, wouldn't it be nice to get rid of these prisons? And he says, the jails? He said, yes, if we can stop all the people from committing crimes, then we can close these up and use them for schools or whatever. Something more beneficial. The material world is just like a prison house. We don't need it, but we need it as long as our hearts are still impure. We have to stay here. So many souls are staying here, and they're thinking they're happy. They're making arrangements how to steal the other prisoners' lunch and one group is trying to make politics to overcome another group, and we're all in prison. And we're thinking that this is great, this is a happy life. We need a new outlook on life. The new outlook is Krishna consciousness. It applies to everyone. Everyone's a servant of Krishna. Everyone's related to Krishna. Aham bija pratapita, mamayavangso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Everyone's related to Krishna, but they've forgotten. So the Krishna conscious movement is meant to remind them about their...
So that means Krishna is our family, or part of our family. It's a family.
Yes, we're part of his family.
His family, yes.
He's the center, and we're part of his family. And all the living entities are a part of his family.
Yes.
All the little germs, they're also my brothers. And the cows are also my brothers. So we should be kind to all living entities. A devotee, one of the qualities of a devotee is he's kind to everyone. So a devotee has 26 good qualities that everyone appreciates. Like Jesus, he's a good example. He was kind to everyone. He didn't like that animals were being sacrificed. He stopped the sacrifice in the temple because he didn't like it. Why are they being killed? There's no need for slaughterhouses. This is unnecessary. It's not the proper food for the human being. Human being has advanced intelligence. He can produce grains and fruits and vegetables and offer them to Krishna without causing violence to advanced living beings like cows. So there needs to be a complete overhaul of the system. Re-education is required. Lord Chaitanya has set out the movement to do this, the Sankirtan movement. And the Sankirtan movement is spreading all over the world, teaching everyone that to worship Krishna, to serve Krishna, to chant Krishna, and realize our relationship with Krishna.
So I saw that on Facebook they're trying to pass something that will make that it'll be possible that women can become Diksha gurus. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
Oh, you mean that they're discussing? Well, my thought is, let the senior devotees, let those whose responsibility is to make those types of decisions, let them discuss. And we pray that they'll be guided by Prabhupada as they're sincere devotees and they're being given their position. I don't think that everybody necessarily has to get into trying to weigh in their thoughts on it. I think it's something that the senior devotees can decide. There's many things that aren't my duty. For example, if you ask me what do I think about the offering that they made in New York City last week, I don't know, it's not my service. It's not. I hope and pray that they do everything pleasing to Krishna, but I have to mind my own business and do my own service. If I try to get involved in all these things that are not my service, then I may become distracted from what my duty is. Let's say my duty is I'm somehow or other placed here in RVC in Kansas City, and my job is to make sure that, for example, the bills are paid and the temple is clean and the offerings are made on time. But if I'm absorbed in the Diksha Guru issue, I may forget to do that. And And then in the sense, I'm trying to do a bigger service, but I'm forgetting my real duty. So better we concentrate on our own duties and let them. I'll give you an example. When I was first a devotee, there was, at that particular time, Prabhupada was living in Los Angeles. And there was, I'll just make it really quick. Well, maybe it's better we keep the timing. I'll tell you this later. Maybe after. I don't want to keep the Lord waiting. It's time for Arti. So we'll have Arti now and we can talk later. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
His Holiness Danavir Goswami Maharaj ki jai.